Hello, friend. Welcome to the weekly live series from Lawyers Design School. This is Legal Design Thinking in Real Life. My name is Hannele Korhonen and I'm the founder of Lawyers Design School. Today, I'm actually really excited. We have a treat for you. We have a true pioneer in contract design, Helena Haapio, as our guest, and we'll be talking about contract design trends 2022. Welcome, Helena, and thank you for joining us today. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you, Hannele. Great to be here.
We usually start by brief introductions. I know that many of the audience may already know you, but I'm actually intrigued because you said in the presentation or in the previous presentation that you say that you are a pioneer of proactive legal thinking and contract design, a practitioner by day and an author and editor by night. I'm interested to hear more about this.
Yeah, I wonder if everyone knows what proactive law or proactive legal thinking is about. So maybe I begin with an introduction of the topic. And that for me is something that I have been practicing for 20 plus years now. It's something that's really close to my heart. And legal design, contract design, for me is a way to bring it to practice. And what is it then? I have a little friend with me, a surprise guest. He's a pocket lawyer. And I need him to explain because many people, business clients tend to think that all lawyers want to litigate and win in court. So this little friend, the pocket lawyer, he's the kind of lawyer who gets all the media attention. He's not a proactive preventive lawyer. He speaks perfect English and he says,
This is an outrage.
"This is an outrage." He says,
My client is innocent.
"My client is innocent." And then he says,
I'll see you in court.
this is what he's famous for. "I'll see you in court." And one more
Pay
sentence.
up, you deadbeat.
Okay, I won't repeat that. So he's there to show that not all lawyers are of the same kind. There's lawyers who litigate, and then there's lawyers who want to prevent the need to litigate and help clients, businesses, people succeed and reach their goals so they do not need to litigate. And that's proactive preventive law in a nutshell. My background, I'm a practitioner by day, yes. Lexpert is my firm, and I used to work as an in-house counsel. Then these days I work, I share my time between Lexpert and then two universities, University of Vaasa and University of Lapland. I'm a professor of practice at the University of Lapland.
Why did you originally become interested in legal design, or what was that? What was that like for you? Why did it happen?
I was fortunate to be there when it all started. I got to know Colette Brunswick and her doctoral dissertation early, and then it wasn't we didn't call it legal design in the beginning. I was doing real time visualizations. So we were doing contract executive training, contractual risk management training, and Annika Varjonen of Visual Impact helped make graphic notes on the spot during the workshops. And people loved the images. They just really went back to their notes and they said that I love these courses, I love these notes, and I've learned so much. So there was some magic in those images and visualizations that made me think that I need to look more closely into this. And I got so intrigued that I became a researcher, or at least a budding researcher to begin with, and started writing and found many people who shared the same kind of thinking. Because as an in-house counsel, which was what I did before I joined the academia, I used to do contracts. We do contracts across various countries, and people would have contracts, but they would call me or my colleagues and ask questions. The answers would have been and were in the contracts, but they wouldn't see them because they wouldn't read the contracts. And I just didn't get it until I saw the power of images and visualizations, and later different way to structure contracts and organize materials. Then I understood that there is a better way. And that's how I found about information design and information designers. Stefania Passera, she coined the concept of legal design jams. And we did jams with Stefania, with Rob Waller, with Margaret Hagan. 2013 were the first ones. So since then, legal design became a concept. And now suddenly I'm amazed how broadly it is already used these days. But if you would ask me about the definition, I would not have one. There's so many. We recently co-authored and co-edited a book for Edward Elgar on legal design, and we didn't even try to find one definition. Every author had their own, and I think that's a good thing. So for me, it's about bringing proactive legal thinking and proactive contracting into practice using design, using ways that make life easier for people, the people who are impacted by those contracts.
Oh, thank you. And that's so true that it seems that everybody has their own definition or take on legal design. So it's nearly impossible task to have a one definition that would actually somehow define it sufficiently. But it's also interesting to hear how people approach it, and of course with your background, because you know the entire history. There's completely another angle to it. But hey, today our topic is contract design trends 2022, and the first topic that we would be talking about is sustainable contracting. So I know that you have prepared some slides for us to see. Would this be a good time to
Indeed, yes,
look at
yes.
them? Let's see. Here we are.
Thank you. So I thought that I'd cover two approaches today. One is about designing content, and the other is about designing how that content is presented, because we need to work on both, actually. So let's go to the content first. Shared responsibility, contracting for ESG, environmental, social, and governance goals. And let's move to the next one. There's wonderful initiatives out there. Here's one. The ABA has a working group which has developed model contract clauses, and it's all about content that is different from today's contracting. This is not about tick the box and transfer all liability to the other party. This is about shared responsibility. So this is a resource I would really recommend you go and have a closer look at, and we can provide you with links afterwards. There's 33 model clauses, and then there's codes of conduct for responsible procurement. And let's go to the next one. This is the code of conduct for responsible purchasing. And it looks like legal by lawyers for lawyers. It's great content, but it doesn't stand out. You don't know that it's different because it looks the same. And let's move to the next one. The great content needs greater presentation. And here's an example done by friends in Brazil, BITS Academy. This is a prototype of the schedule of responsible purchasing code of conduct. What they did is they took that code of conduct and made it human friendly. This is work in progress. Let's have a look at the next one. What is this? Why do we need this? Where does this approach have an impact? So when you select suppliers, when you negotiate the contract, when you perform the contract, and even if you plan to exit, you want to have responsible exit. So this is explained in ways that business people in the field will find engaging and helpful. But this is yet to be developed. The work continues. But for me, this is a way to help bring the great ideas behind shared responsibility and responsible exit into practice. And let's go to the next one. This is something where, in a recent book, this came out this spring, a research handbook on contract design. Marcelo, myself, and Mark co-edited this thing, and we claim that contracts and codes of conduct need to be designed, not just drafted. And that's where the proactive approach plays a part. Shared responsibility, all these great thoughts behind a more modern way, a more balanced way of contracting. They need also presentation that is different from today's conventional draft text only, because contracts and codes of conduct need to be actionable, they need to be user-friendly and legally functional.
Here, here.
Yes, let's go a little bit further, and then I'll stop and we can see if we have questions in the chat. A few years ago, Stefania Passera and myself did this library, and we collected design patterns. These tools are open access, free. These help solve communication problems and usability problems that often occur in contracting. People don't read. They don't find the information understandable, engaging, quite the opposite. And in this collection, and we'll show you the link afterwards, we have 10 pattern families. So if you move to the next, there's 10 pattern families, and I thought that I'd take one in particular, and we can have a look at it later on. This is the cover page of the library. It was IACCM library then, now it's WorldCC library. I would recommend you to go and have a look at the pattern families, like layering and explaining and various other ways. The titles show you, and you can look for examples. The examples come from companies like Shell and Airbus and other companies who have kindly given us permission to share their new modern visual contracts, redesigned contracts. And that's about content and presentation. Both would be something for us lawyers to do differently, and our contracts would be understood and easier to follow, easier to bring into practice.
Yeah, there are chat saying that I love these designs, so very well appreciated. Should we then move on to the next topic?
Yes, why not? Let's see what tools, apart or in addition to these model clauses and these ideas or patterns. These are not copy-paste things, these patterns, these are just ideas. And how do we bring this to practice? Now, I picked one tool, and that's an AI tool. So let's move to how might AI and GPT-3 in particular help us in contract design. So you when you invited me, you said that I could pick two topics, and my second topic would really be AI and GPT-3 for inspiration, for layering. Now let's go to my examples. Here's my question to you in the audience. Have you already tried this? And if you haven't, I would encourage you to do so, because it's really a great resource and so much fun. It can be used to simplify, personalize, explain, and benchmark. And I first found out about this in an article about smart readers a year ago. And then later we started to look into this, how this might help us, not just as readers, but also as writers and as designers. And we've written about that in the book, the cover of which was shown. So it's various things you can try on your own.
What do you think is the kind of the promise of this tool to contract designers or those who are designing contracts?
Translating legalese or sustainabilities into human language would be, I think, the greatest promise, helping us do what we want to do as designers. So you probably already use AI. You might not call it so, but if you use Google Translate or DeepL, you know how easy it has gotten to translate from one language to another. So now you can do this from legalese to human, for example. And there's other ways. Let's look at some examples, if we might.
Yes.
Here's how it looks. So you can go there. OpenAI has made it available for everyone. You get a free 3 months trial period, and even after that, my 3 months have passed. But it's really not costly by any means compared to the fun you can have with it. So if you go to the OpenAI webpage, you can get free access immediately. There used to be a waiting list, but that's not the case anymore. You can access it right away. If you use it for your private own use, then it's really easy. So this is how the front looks. And then how do I use it for my purposes? Let's move on. I asked GPT-3, provide me 7 tips for responsible procurement contracting, just for inspiration and for getting over my writer's block. So let's see what it said. This is slightly small. This is a playground. But on the next slide, I show you what I got in seconds. I got great ideas and suggestions in seconds. Some of them really make sense. Not all of them necessarily in a business-to-business context, but you can get tips for things that make you think. And you can use it for inspiration. You can use it for a first draft, a starting point for an article, or ideas for an event, or various ways, which at least for me has been helpful in when I'm working alone to get over the block that often exists.
Yeah, when you look at the empty paper, and also if you have existing language already, it's very hard to kind of, you're stuck with the language, and when this obviously can provide some external inspiration how to change that.
Indeed. And I have other examples. Here's how we have been using it. Let's look at the next one. How might it then use us in other contexts? I gave it a text from this Sustainability Code of Conduct, Responsible Code of Conduct, and said, what is this? What do I need to do with this? Or what does it say in layman's terms? And here's what I got as an answer. This is how I talked to it. I gave it the first 5 clauses.
This was the original.
Yes, my pocket lawyer really likes that, as you can see. But what does GPT-3 say? It gives me an answer. This is my interpretation in layman's terms. The company has a responsibility to make sure that its supply chain does not involve any human rights violations and so on. I won't be reading the whole thing, but it's beautiful English. You have to see what it says, and there's research needed to be better at this. But for a first draft, for someone who's not a native speaker, this is a great start. So I would encourage you to give it a try and see how it might help you if you have complex texts and want to explain to people who might not want to read it. So they might not read any of it. In this way, you can at least help them read some of it and get the main idea.
So anybody can really just go to the site and get the free trial and start experimenting with it.
Absolutely, yes.
Then there
You
was
are
another
probably,
example.
yeah, this is something you're probably familiar with. I took it because I'm a big fan of layered information, which you can do using hyperlinks, but you can also do it in one document, a PDF or a Word document. So we here have the Creative Commons licenses. They have the legal code, the full text. Then they have something they call human readable explanations, and I'll get to that. And then there's the code layer. So there's images which quickly convey the meaning, and then there's these layers. If you go to the next one, we have them all there. And if you're familiar with the system, you don't need anything but the icon. If you're not, you might want to skim read the explanation, the human readable summary. And then for lawyers who want to see the full text, then there's the
I love that
lawyer readable.
human readable, and then the version for lawyers.
That's their words, but I would really, I like the approach. That's true, because no human probably wants to read what lawyers read. And let's go further, and you'll see how we've been approaching this. Here's something which we lawyers use in sales contracts. This is about a used car. This is borrowed from the Smart Readers article. So they had asked GPT-3, what does this sentence mean? And the sentence is from a dealership's agreement with a car, buyer of a car. And then GPT-3 translates this text. It makes it longer and explains what as is means in layman's terms. It says that this dealership is telling you that they are not responsible for anything that happens to the car. They really open up the concept of as is, which is so familiar for us lawyers, but may not be familiar for the car buyer. So let's see what we did with this. Let's take the next one. Here's an example of a layered text. So the full text would be there, the original on the right-hand side, and then GPT-3 provided the first draft for the explanation for the layman. And then I personally produced the action layer, check the car carefully. I'm sure GPT-3 can be taught to do that, but I did it. You could do this in any contract, really. Have all the layers there. You could have it through hyperlinks or accordions, but you can also have it on one document. And with Rob Waller and Stefania Passera, we have been using layering a lot, and it seems to work. I now understand that some of you might say that, hey, this is dangerous. Even headings are dangerous. That's the lawyerly way. That's guess who says so and thinks so. But you can overcome the dangers, and I wouldn't stop here. There's research to be done and there's development work to be done, but the concept, proof of concept exists, that people skim read the headings and find the answers they need, rather than call us lawyers always, or just ignore the contract altogether and find it not usable or useful.
Yeah, and wouldn't you even say that this layering approach may be kind of easier, because you don't have to let go of the original text entirely. You just build these user interface to it, so that there still are the pocket lawyer's favorite clauses, but then there is also other information.
This is an approach that we have been using in contexts where the legal department has been against any change in their standard terms, for example. So yes, absolutely. And this may be for us who want to redesign things and clarify things. This might be the easy way to keep everyone happy, even
Yes.
the pocket lawyers, if any. Any questions in the chat?
Just smiling emojis. So I think that people are agreeing and enjoying. Shall we move forward?
Yes, we have some 5 minutes to go, maybe.
Yes. Yeah.
And where do we go from here? I just wanted to point out that there are events coming where these topics will be discussed. So if you're interested in these topics, let's have a look at the next one. There's this event, the WorldCC Academic Symposium. It's not too academic, don't be frightened. There are practitioners and academics talking, and there's a 2-day event, free, open for all, and it's online. So it's something to have a closer look at. You can register. There's already 1,000 people registered, which is really showing that this is a hot topic in contracting. So I would encourage you to have a look. And if you are in Finland or near Finland, let's go to the next one. You can go to Lexpert, my firm's webpage, and look up some forthcoming events that we will be having in Finland, in Helsinki, Tampere, Vaasa, Rovaniemi. We will be adding new events. So if you're interested, part of these can be attended online as well. So please go and have a look. There's AI, there's Robert De Roy presenting comic contracts. So there's various interesting things, I think, around these topics that are trends in this year. And let's see the final slide. I think I collected some of the resources, so we can maybe put them into the chat if you're interested in the model clauses or codes of conduct models or some other projects, and then the design pattern library website. And yes, that would be, I think, the last one, or let's go to the next one.
Yes.
Okay.
There's pocket lawyer still wanting to have the final say.
Indeed, here he is. But yes.
Oh, thank you. And I was going to ask you about where to find more information about you and how can people reach you and learn more about what you do. But I think that your website and those resources that you shared, I think those are the perfect place to start. There is a lot of resources and information on your webpage. It's like a gold mine for anyone looking for information about legal design and contract design. So.
And then there's LinkedIn, of course, and then there are some, like the Social Science Research Network, SSRN. There are resources where you can find some writing, some academic stuff, if you're interested.
Yeah, and by attending these events, people can also meet you in person or remotely. But anyway, get to hang out with you some more and learn more.
And not just me.
Also pocket lawyer.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you so much. Let me see if there are other questions in chat. Not at the moment, but this has been an incredible summary of what's going on in contract design. So thank you so much for coming today and taking the time to spend this time with us. So thank you, and hope you have a great day and great events ahead.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me. I look forward to seeing everyone online or in Finland.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.